Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's getting loud about this. He had some thoughts about the looming deadline. He said in part, quote, "America pays its debts, period. There should be no political brinksmanship with the debt limit. It's reckless for Speaker McCarthy and MAGA Republicans to try and use the full faith and credit of the United States as a political bargaining chip. A default would be catastrophic for America's working families and lead to higher costs." You might be wondering, sounds like a big impact. Will it impact my family? Should I be worried? To help us understand some of this tonight, let's bring in Brandon Arnold. He's the Executive Vice President for the National Taxpayers Union, which does support a more limited government. Mr. Arnold, for Kevin McCarthy to even become Speaker, he had to commit publicly to cutting spending. So they're serious about this. And the GOP wants to slash some, as far as I can gather, some zeros off of some programs. Which ones?
Well, that's the real difficulty here. Everyone is in favor, at least all Republicans are in favor of cutting spending, but where the rubber hits the road is where people start to disagree. And we even saw a lot of division within Republicans when it came to just the basic top line number. Should we cut non-defense spending? Should we cut defense spending? Because there's a large contingent of defense hawks within the Republican Party that don't want to shave a nickel off of the Pentagon's budget. So there's already a lot of division here. As long as they keep it top line, I think they can keep the conference together. But the more they start to drill into specific programs, particularly if those come on the defense side of the ledger, they're going to have a lot of difficulty.
Are we talking about the oddball scientific endeavors that you always see pop up, you know, do monkeys like to dance? Are we talking about, there are also, in the vein of Trump, some people saying we spend way too much on defense, or perennially we see social safety net spending too much. What is first to go?
We put together a report every about 2 years with a left of center group called US PIRG, and we look at all sorts of low-hanging fruit. And a lot of that is in the defense budget. Some of it is in the agriculture budget. One of the things that Congress is going to tackle this year is another farm bill. They do so about once every 5 years. There's billions of dollars of waste there. We're talking about payments to wealthy people in Manhattan who claim to be farmers who aren't actively engaged in farming. We should absolutely cut that. Yes, we want to protect the family farmer, but we shouldn't be protecting these corporate entities and these rich people, again, living in Manhattan who are pretending to be farmers.
Which makes this such a sticky wicket, right? They say, you're going to go after our military, you're going to go after our farmers, teachers must be next, and then that makes this so hard.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. When the rubber hits the road, people start to run for the woods here. They just stop being interested in cutting spending. And we have things like the Essential Air Program. This is a program that flies oftentimes empty planes from one sparsely used airport to another just to keep those airports open. Is completely worthless. It's not only a hit to the national budget, but it also is bad for the environment, flying empty planes around this country. These are the types of programs that we should be able to cut, but nobody has the temerity to go after them. And of course, the people that benefit from these programs, the people that have these programs in their backyards, are willing to fight tooth and nail because they are about economic activity in their districts and states.
So then I'd ask you, we are looking at Thursday, but then we maybe have several more months that we can still last. Democrats have said in the White House and the Senate, no negotiation. Republicans have the House, and we've seen they are willing to go to the wall. Who do you think is going to cave here?
Well, hopefully it's not about caving. Hopefully it's about having an adult conversation.
Come on, it's Washington, D.C.
Balanced budget. Yeah, no, I know. Every time there's going to be finger pointing. This is a political exercise. But, you know, you saw Biden was out there just yesterday saying, I cut $300 billion from the federal deficit, and patting himself on the back. If he really sees value in that, if he really thinks that's something worth crowing about, then maybe he should sit down with McCarthy. Maybe he should sit down with other congressional Republicans and craft a deal to save another $300 billion or more to really start to make a meaningful impact in this runaway deficit problem that we have. Now, I hope it's not about caving, but of course people are going to point fingers. People are going to blame the other side and pretend that they scored huge victories one way or another. But I really do hope that more reasonable minds will prevail here. We're working with people on both sides of the aisle, members of Congress on both sides of the aisle at present, trying to find some bipartisan agreements on cutting the deficit. Hope that we're successful here because I think there's a lot at stake.
Executive VP for the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. It sounds like we're kind of working with the worst of two worlds right now, but let's see if we can make the best of it. Thank you.
Thanks.